Okay, so today we're going to tell some stories. Really unsettling ones.
Yeah, these are accounts of just strange, kind of frightening moments that pop up where you least expect them, like, the beach.
Exactly. Or just out walking your dog. These aren't like police reports or anything formal.
No, they're very personal. People sharing these really brief but super bizarre interactions that, well, they leave you feeling deeply uneasy.
Right. So the source material is basically this collection of personal stories, people talking about these moments happening in places that feel, basically safe, public-ish.
And what we want to do is walk through them, pull out what makes them so creepy, and maybe think about what's going on there. What do these encounters tell us?
Okay, let's start with this first one. It's from someone who is celebrating their anniversary. They decided to stay late on the beach.
Yeah, deliberately. For the stars, the quiet, away from the crowds.
So they find this spot, like maybe 30 yards back from the water.
Mm-hmm. And about 70 yards from like an old wooden fence that led back to town. You're just settling in, relaxing.
And then maybe 15 minutes later, they're lying there, stargazing, and suddenly get that feeling. You know the one. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah, that prickle on your neck.
Yeah.
So they sit up, look around, their wife's asleep next to them. Nothing seems wrong at first.
But then they turn properly, and there's this guy just sitting there in the sand, maybe 15 feet away, behind them.
And he'd somehow gotten there completely silently, unnoticed until that exact moment.
And here's where it gets really, really weird. The man is just sitting staring at them with this huge, incredibly creepy smile.
Just imagine that giant smile. And then the instant he sees he's been spotted.
Poof, smile's gone, replaced by this angry look.
That switch from weirdly passive to suddenly angry?
Yeah.
That's terrifying. And then he pulls out a knife.
A huge knife. The story says it looked like a kitchen knife, which somehow makes it worse, more mundane and horrible.
Right. So they're obviously freaking out, trying to wake the wife, offering the guy their phones, their keys, saying they don't have cash.
Anything. They even offered him a beer, just trying to de-escalate.
And the description of the man.
Yeah.
It adds to it. Ripped brown suit, messy long brown hair, looked homeless, but also just this completely insane look in his eyes.
But faced with all these offers, the phones, the keys, the beer, his only response, his only words are...
Oh, drink.
Just flat, chillin'. Totally out of context, right?
Completely. And then, just as suddenly as he showed up, he gets up, turns around, and walks away.
Stops for a second, looks up at the sky, apparently.
Bizarre.
And then just vanishes through that wooden fence back towards town.
Wow. The relief must have been immense.
Oh, totally. The story says, immediate relief. The wife starts tearing up. They grab their stuff instantly and just bolt off the beach.
And you can feel the aftershock.
Yeah. Silence the whole drive home.
Yeah.
The wife just staring out the window. And they've never been back to that beach. It wasn't even a robbery attempt, really.
No, it was just this brief, terrifying brush with someone completely unpredictable. And that unpredictability is key, I think.
How so?
Well, it doesn't follow the script, does it? A threat usually makes demands or attacks. This guy, the creepy smile, the sudden anger, the weird non-answer, the just leaving.
Yeah.
It's more like some disturbing performance than a rational act. It messes with your head.
Yeah, that makes sense. That feeling, that unease.
Yeah.
It carries over into the next story we have. This one's simpler, almost, but still deeply unsettling.
Okay.
It happens during just a routine walk. Small seaside town, the person's walking their dog, covers the beach, the promenade, some lakes nearby.
And a dog is kind of important here. It's recently adopted.
Right. And the previous owners had said she was, unresponsive, disobedient.
Yeah, but the new owner found her totally the opposite. Really well behaved, adorable, didn't match the history at all.
Okay, so keep that in mind. They're walking near the lakes. They walk past this man sitting on a bench.
Just walk past him. But then, from behind, they hear the man say, "And the dog." The supposedly disobedient one.
Instantly sits down, which is weird in itself, right, given what they thought they knew about her.
Very weird. So the owner encourages the dog, come on, let's go, gets her up. But they only walk a few more feet.
And the man says, "Sit again."
And she sits again. Obeys this stranger instantly.
So now they turn around properly. And the man isn't sitting anymore.
He's on his feet.
Yeah, they try to pick up the pace, get away, but he yells, "Sit," one more time.
And the poor dog just drops again, looking confused now.
Now the fear really kicks in because the man is starting to walk towards them. catching up,
And he's grinning.
that grin.
Oh,
So the person realizes what's happening, or what they think is happening.
that he's using the dog's weird obedience.
Exactly. Using it to control the situation, slow them down, so they just scoop up the dog
Smart move.
and run.
Yeah.
Straight up a hill nearby, scramble over a little fence onto the street to get away.
And the man.
He just stops at the bottom of the hill, looks up at them, but the grin is gone now.
Chilling. The interpretation is that he was deliberately using the dog to stop her escaping. Really malicious intent behind it.
It's horrible. It takes something like, training, that bond with your pet, and twists it into a weapon, a tool for control. Feels really violating.
It really shows how fast a normal moment can turn bad. You feel trapped, targeted, and you just have to rely on pure instinct to get out.
Okay, this third story. This one happened maybe 15 years ago. Someone who used to go to this quiet, lonely spot on the beach quite often.
Right. Their routine was just relaxing, tanning,
Yeah.
sometimes falling asleep there.
So this one day, they do fall asleep, wake up, sun's starting to set, and they notice there's a woman sitting nearby, just on the sand.
Not too close, but nearby.
Yeah. And the description is pretty clear. No towel or anything, just jean shorts and a bathing suit top. Pretty red hair.
But the key thing is her behavior.
Exactly. She's just staring. Straight out at the ocean, not looking around, not looking at them, just staring.
Likely.
Seems like it. So the person says a simple hello.
And the woman says hello back. But apparently without even pausing and without turning her head at all. Still staring at the sea.
Weird, right? And then, straight after saying hello back, she just springs to her feet and walks off. Abruptly.
Just like that.
Just like that. So the person packs up their stuff, leaves, thinks it was a bit odd, but, doesn't dwell on it too much at the time.
Okay. But then
But then later, they're home making dinner, get a call from their mom, chatting away, and they happen to look at their purse. And sticking out of it is this square folded piece of paper.
oh no, not from the beach.
Exactly. They don't recognize it, pull it out, confused, unfold it.
And what did it say?
It said, "Get this. I was going to rob you and stab you in the throat, but you just look too peaceful."
Oh my God.
Right.
Just imagine reading that. Cold print.
I can't even. What did they do?
Dropped the phone apparently. Told their mom what it said. Both nearly fainted, totally freaked out, and immediately they thought of the woman on the beach. The staring woman. Had to be her. Slipped it in the purse when they were asleep, or maybe right after the hello.
Must have been. This one. It's maybe the most terrifying because it's so explicit. There's no ambiguity.
No, it's a confession. A cold written statement of intent. And the only reason it didn't happen was something totally random, looking peaceful.
It's chilling. So when you look at all three of these stories we've shared,
Yeah?
what's the thread? It's not just the beach, right?
No, I think it's how the normal rules just break down, the social script, These interactions don't follow any expected pattern. Not even typical crazy person behavior, really.
Yeah, it's something else.
It's that feeling of the uncanny, maybe. When someone behaves in a way that's fundamentally off, the smile that's too big, the weird command that works, the blank stare, it triggers a different kind of alarm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Deeper, maybe more primitive than just a straightforward threat.
Right. It feels less like, I don't know, a negotiation or confrontation, and more like bumping into something that just doesn't compute on a human level. And it happening in these safe places, a quiet beach, a walk near home, that just amplifies it.
Absolutely. The feeling of being watched, singled out, and the subversion of these supposedly relaxing environments.
And instinct plays such a huge role. That gut feeling in the first story, even before the knife.
Or recognizing the pattern with the dog in the second one, realizing this isn't right, this is being used against me.
And in the third, well, the unease was maybe there with the staring woman, but the real gut punch, the confirmation, came way later with the note.
Exactly. And those little details, the ripped suit, the kitchen knife, the dog looking confused, the blank stare, and God, that note, they're what make these stick, right? They make it feel horribly real.
They really do. They confirm that sometimes the danger isn't loud or obvious, it's quiet, it's unexpected, it's just lurking.
Yeah, these accounts really hammer home that unsettling things can happen anywhere, anytime, without warning. And they leave a mark.
We've definitely walked through some incredibly chilling stories today. Thinking about that note again, what does that say about, the line between thinking about doing something awful and actually doing it?
That's a heavy question. How much is down to intent versus, I don't know, circumstance?
Yeah.
Or just a random factor like someone looking peaceful? It's deeply disturbing.
And across all these stories, how much are we really relying on our gut feelings in those moments? You know, that instinct for danger. And can it fail us sometimes? What part of these stories really stands out to you?
Lots to think about there.
These stories are definitely a reminder to, well, stay aware. Thank you for sharing these accounts with us today and exploring them.
Yeah, it's been unsettling for sure, but important to think about.
If these stories resonated with you, or if you want to hear more explorations like this, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Come on, Horror Docs. Your support really helps us keep doing this.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.